Green tea.
Food for thought, dog. Get a plate.
Tablescraps.
Greetings, peace, and blessings.
Peace.
We are back. We got the Tablescraps family here. We're gonna get into some serious issues. You know, we like to discuss some cultural relevant topics, social commentary. Of course, we do it in our own way. That's the reason why we're here. So, of course, in the very own distinctive Tablescraps fashion, we will get into some serious topics. We'll go around the table. Everybody, introduce yourselves.
Yo, twice born of God.
Khalid Salam.
J Love.
Polo.
What's going on, Polo? GB is taking care of some family business.
Indeed.
However, he's always here in spirit.
Kareem, chef. Chopping it up.
Chef Kareem in the building. We appreciate you.
Anytime, bro.
So, we just fellas, we just had a conversation. We were just talking, off camera. So, with everything that's going on, everything that's been happening recently, we know that, it's people all around the world, or should be people all around the world, especially people of color, having these types of conversations, getting with their brothers, getting with their family. I call it the mastermind group. What do we do? What's the step? What are these steps, or what are steps that we can take?
Well, in my opinion, I think we have to first stop relying on the victims to come up with solutions. Leaders of the community need to, step their game up. I mean, what you are elected for, and brainstorm just like we're brainstorming.
Right.
I know we'll probably get into economics later, but education is always the key. And I think that like when you have law enforcement, there's no standard of, in any profession, you may need 2 years of college, or you just can't be a doctor.
Right.
You have to go to school for a number of years, and yet anybody out of high school can just be in charge of a gun and a badge without any type of proper education. And I think that the more successful, statistically, from my research, I found that the more successful police departments require at least a 2-year degree. And so you need that because we see how a lot of the youth have a lack of respect, or even a lack of being able to communicate properly.
Right.
And lack of people skills, and that comes from not being educated enough.
Exactly.
And they so that's why you see music the way it is, and various different things when we see people interviewed in social forums and they can't articulate what they really want to say. They're passionate about it, but can they really articulate it? So when it comes to police departments, you need that, because I think a lot of times the officers are encountering people who are smarter than them. And that becomes frustrating to them, and they've got to find some way to get the upper hand, and only the upper hand is violence.
That's
because
true.
that's what you resort to when you're angry.
It's an authority.
Yeah,
thing.
and so, but if you were educated and you felt comfortable, and if someone says, well, I don't have to do that because it's my right to not have to give you this information, they don't know what to do. Get out the car.
Right.
So they become very frustrated.
They have to assume authority at that point.
Exactly.
Let me just chime in real quick, because just like you said, the police are trained a certain way. They go through a certain type of training.
True.
Which the public knows nothing about.
True.
Now, understanding that they do go through some type of training, there should be some type of training how to deal with them as well. Now, for instance, like you just said, there are some of us that are probably a little smarter than the officer, and we handle ourselves a little differently. Me, for one, I've done that before. I got pulled over.
Outsmarted the officer.
I outsmarted the officer on his
He-
own law when he was pulling me over for it, because I knew what I knew I know what was going on, but you know, me being a gun owner, okay. One thing I do know, being a gun owner, there are laws when you're a gun owner, but there are laws when you're a black man. Let me say this again. Let me say this. There's a separate entity or a separate type of way to handle yourself as a black man with a gun.
Right. Correct. Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, with the stuff that's been going on, and you see, like, you know, well, I have my license and whatever. You reach for you never reach for anything. You let them. You keep your hands out on the wheel, on the top of the car, whatever. Let them disarm you first. You don't reach for anything. If you want to see my ID, you disarm my weapon first. That's the first thing you do. You never reach for anything.
I agree.
Yeah.
You never reach for anything.
No sudden movements.
Right. So it has to be certain things that we need to be able to teach our own people how to deal with officers.
I'm sure people, for the most part, you know, they have assumed at this point, okay, I'm not reaching for nothing, whether they know that
They don't,
or not.
but see, they don't.
But there's a whole training regimen that this police officer has gone through when it comes to
he don't know it either.
When it comes to de-escalating situations.
It doesn't. Most police officers get in the heat of the moment. Now,
right. I mean, we are all human, and so
right. Now, they're getting fed the same media bullshit that everybody else is getting fed, where the black man is a threat.
Right.
But we already know that 70% of all cop killers are from white men.
Yes. True.
Okay?
Correct. But they tell them when they go into that black neighborhood, you got to do what you got to do to come out alive.
Right.
That's what they tell them.
Exactly.
So they already going in there
who's
scared.
The actual threat, though?
Right.
If you're going to look at statistic-wise.
We know what it is, factual. But, you know, they're not going to portray that media-wise.
No, they're not. But see, like what I'm saying, the training and the information that they're getting is going in the same way people are getting it from the media.
Exactly. Right.
It's being instilled in them constantly.
Correct.
So we have to do something to where we are training our own people. It's like, you got kids, hey, look, yeah, we have to tell them, it's like, okay, if you ever get pulled over by a cop, keep your hands on the wheel. If you ask for a license or anything, don't reach for anything. Let him take you out the car. Or better yet, if you feel like something's going on, when you go to a restaurant and you're unhappy with your food,
call a supervisor.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the next step.
First thing you ask for is the manager.
That was my de-escalation.
Yeah.
If you ever pull up to a situation or you feel that you're being threatened by the cop or you don't feel comfortable with the situation, all you got to do is say, okay,
can you call your supervisor?
Call your supervisor before I make any more moves or before we have any more discussions, because I do know my rights. My rights are to remain silent, and I can sit here and be as still as I want to. I don't have to say a word. All I need to do is keep my hands visible and not make certain movements.
Right.
Exactly.
Until your supervisor get here. Once your supervisor gets here, we can have this discussion. But right now, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to train our kids now that this is a problem. But we, as our brothers, know. We all grew up in this same environment in our 20s, and it is. I can't necessarily say it's all on us. The thing or the problem is, we as a community have slipped away from each other, so we don't know how to address each other or try to address another one's child or try to guide them. So you feel threatened. You don't. So you become quiet. Yeah. And by us becoming quiet, now, okay, we got the advantage. We don't have to listen to y'all. We've put these people in these places. We've put these laws in order and in place to protect them, so that if we do this, oh, okay, it's a slap on the wrist, or as we all seen, you just get away with it. The unfortunate part of it is, now, we as brothers have to understand we are still the backbones. Right. We are still the strength. If we can't figure out how to do it, it's not gonna get solved.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. I mean, so okay, we'll talk about I guess the elephant in everybody's room, which is the difference between police brutality and dealing with those issues and black on black crime. Because before we even say anything, that's what's going to come up. People are going to say, okay, well, what about, or anybody that is quote unquote, I guess, in opposition to whether it's Black Lives Matter or whatever, they're going to bring up black on black crime.
All right, well,
The first thing we have to do is to debunk them 3 words, because they don't exist. Because all crime against each other are
it's just a
It's
crime.
crime.
It's just crime.
crime.
I agree.
70% of what is it? 70% of crime committed against each other is a person of the same race.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So if it's black on black crime, then it's
White on white crime.
white on
Right.
white crime.
Indian on Indian
It's
crime.
all
Exactly.
that. So first thing we got to do is get that out of our system,
Right.
out of our statistics, and debunk that, and then we can talk. But we got to definitely cut that out, and let's just, like you said, talk about the elephant in the room, man. It's systematic,
Yeah.
Like I said, a few years ago, FBI reported that the KKK and the white supremacist groups are deep in the police.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rampant.
Right,
In
and that's
Congress.
Rampant within
Yeah,
the police
Congress
system.
too.
that's
And in
real
Congress.
life.
And that's real
And,
life.
exactly. And but that goes again to us and our history. You got those like David Duke. David Duke made this. This was part of their plan. When he became their national lead and spokesman, he told them, "Oh, okay, we're not going to sit here. We're not going to put the sheets on anymore. We're going to wear suits.
Exactly.
We're going to take over the corporations. We're going to take over the jobs. We're going to take the jobs.
Mm-hmm.
That way, we can debunk them any kind of way that we want to. If they want to be promoted, if they want to make an advancement, I'm in a position to tell you no.
Exactly.
I'll bypass you. I'll bypass you for someone less educated than you, because for the simple fact that I have the power and you put me in this situation and in this position to do this.
That is what's known as
Nature
systemic
speaks.
racism.
Right.
Yeah.
Right there.
Mm-hmm. I just had this conversation about Black Lives Matter just 2 days ago.
Okay.
Okay. A friend of mine, and I know it goes on through a lot of people's mind, well, Black Lives Matter, why not all lives matter? And if all lives matter, how come Black Lives Matter doesn't, go on and do something about the black on black crime or whatever it is? My response to this is, how many cancers are there in the body? How many different cancers do you have in the body? I mean, hey, we could just deal with like maybe 2 or 3 of them real
Right.
quick. Okay, you got
Brain cancer.
you got brain cancer, you got
Melanoma.
leukemia, you got
Right.
breast cancer,
colon,
you got
Skin
lung cancer, right?
Right.
Okay, so Susan G. Komen
right.
deals with what?
Breast cancer.
Breast cancer.
Yeah.
When they collect money, they only collect money for what?
Breast
Breast
cancer.
cancer.
Right?
Right.
Not colon cancer.
Not
Right,
colon
e-
cancer.
Exactly.
Just
Not
breast
not nose cancer, not none of these other cancers.
Just breast
They're
cancer.
focused on breast cancer.
Right.
All cancers matter.
But isn't it not still cancer?
Exactly.
Correct. Right.
Okay? So, like I said, my response to this is like when you're dealing with when Black Lives Matter, you also got what is the National Black
Caucus.
Action Network.
Yeah.
You got the NAACP. You got the National Urban League.
Right.
You got CORE. You got all these.
New Black Panther Party.
Black
you got,
Panther Party.
yeah.
Right.
Right. So you got different organizations that deal with different things. Just because Black Lives Matter is in the public eye right now,
Right.
and they're only focusing on maybe 1 or 2 different things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not dealing with every type of cancer
Right.
in the
Exactly.
body.
Correct. Correct.
Well, I said this to Kay earlier. I was like, look, we got to learn to walk and chew gum at the same time. I mean, yes, there's separate issues, and we can deal with each issue accordingly. But one has absolutely nothing to do with police brutality and this system over here not being held accountable.
Correct.
That's a completely separate issue.
Correct.
So, like I said, I don't get it when these people, think that we can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I mean, it's,
I went to high school with a guy who would argue with people all the time, and no matter what the argument was about, be it politics or schoolwork, he would always end every argument with who the best in ball then, which had nothing to do with the argument. Because he would, and for real, this is what he would do. He would do this, who the best in ball, and he was a good ball player. So 9 times out of 10, he was the best in ball, and that's the end of the argument. Or I'm the best in ball, so I win the argument. So but that's what they're doing. You know, when you bring in all these other entities, when someone says Black Lives Matter, you asking, well, who the best in ball? Like, who cares?
Right.
That doesn't. We're not talking about basketball.
well, those are tactics to change the narrative.
And that's all that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Because like I said, completely separate issues. I mean, but only in America that I can't even say where you can have a conversation about police brutality and then link it to black people killing each other in Chicago.
But all of them is saying,
You know?
all the blacks in charge, all of them, in front, all of them is saying that. You got Barkley saying that. You got, like
Barkley's
you said,
an
Al
idiot.
saying that.
I mean, it
almost
goes
time for Barkley to take
it goes back to
Yeah.
where Donald
Charles Barkley said
Trump said, "I love the undereducated people."
Right.
Because you can feed them anything.
I can feed them anything, and they can be fooled easily because they don't know.
And this is all just the Adolf Hitler theory.
Right.
It's all the Hitler theory.
What I hope this sparks, because like I said, I can almost feel the unrest with people. I'm hoping that it sparks a different level of education where it's like, okay, you know what? Let me inform myself. Let me not be emotional. Let me learn the laws. Let me learn, everything that I need, especially as a father, because you're thinking about, okay, you know what? We got to preserve the next generation.
I don't see it just yet.
Really?
I don't see it just yet. Because it's going to slowly get there.
Yeah.
But, for the masses, right now, especially with us, I mean, a lot of people are content on being enslaved.
I about to say
Enslaved.
happy slaves.
Yeah, they're happy slaves.
And they don't know it because they think because I have a good job
Right.
and I live in a good neighborhood,
Right.
I'm good.
Right.
And
That stuff is not affecting me.
Right.
This can't
But
touch
see,
me.
if you go, this is what I do. This is what I asked. I was like, okay, what's the difference between a middle class white man and a middle class black man?
100,000.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah.
95 to 100,000. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You still low class black.
Yeah.
Still you're still our second class citizen as far as
Exactly.
That's going to bring us to our next point. We're going to talk economics when we get back. Table scraps. We'll be right back.